You guys know what time it is. Get strapped in and ready for some good times. This is the Blowed Out Podcast. What is up, everybody? It is your Fatty with a Natty coming to you with episode 60. Welcome to the show. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I was on the fence about doing this episode tonight. To be honest, I feel like everything is just getting real monotonous. And I'm sure you guys do too. I know a lot of you guys like these shorter midweek, a little more serious episodes where it's just me. I know a lot of you like the longer, sillier episodes where it's me and Maddie and Miss Lady and whoever else happens to show up. And I know there's a bunch of you who like them both, and I appreciate all of you for whichever ones you choose. But, man, these solo midweek episodes are just... I'm having a real hard time where it's Groundhog Day, guys. And I'm certain I don't have to tell any of you guys that. But every time I turn around and think, oh, shit, okay, I'm going to record an episode, it just gets shittier. Like, I know I've said it plenty of times over the last 60 episodes. This was not why I started this show. I mean, apparently... sometimes I'm kind of good at it, but like it's everything all day, every day lately, especially now on the second day of yet another goddamn government shutdown, it's starting to feel real dystopian. And I assume it's that way for a lot of you guys also. I don't get it anymore. Anyone who, regardless of what team you're on, anyone who thinks that overall we're still somehow hashtag winning, I don't know how anyone can 100% still believe that. Yes, we may be winning at certain things, but we are losing at others. And anyone who thinks that this government shutdown is a good thing apparently has never been a federal employee. Now, that being said, you guys know full well that shy of a handful of years, I'm pushing 25 years in some capacity working for the federal government, more specifically the DOD. So these things are nothing new. See, even super producer, engineer Ganesha over there is restless, like there's something in the air. But these things are nothing new, guys. We were threatened with shutdowns and furloughs and everything literally every fiscal year. It had absolutely nothing to do with one administration or the other. That's not it. That's not the case, guys. It's been every administration for the last 25 years, and that's just that I can speak of. So, that being said, the reason they have shut down has nothing to do with the administration. I mean, it certainly doesn't help at this point. However, it's just a normal thing. So these things come and go every October, just like they have for the last 25, again, that I can speak of. That part isn't the problem. The problem is that both sides are so unwilling to budge on their shit that it just ends up screwing everybody. And as far as dystopian, it's not fun anymore. None of this is fun anymore. And again, I'm certain it's going to be an unpopular opinion, but across the board, we are not winning, guys. The divisiveness and the fact that everybody is just at each other's throats. And if you're left, you're a piece of shit. If you're right, you're a piece of shit. It's so old. Like I have fatigue about all of it. And it doesn't seem that there is an end in sight, and that's sad, really. And to circle back, that's why these are becoming to the point where it's not a whole lot of fun anymore. Now, I still enjoy doing it. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely enjoy doing it, and I'll sit here and have fun and make fun of both sides. I don't care, but if we don't get something figured out, and I'm sorry to sound like a broken record, but we are headed for bad, sad times. And it's time to put all this bullshit aside from both sides. Or we're just going to end up straight out of a movie. Like, I don't know, Hancock, or I don't know, one of those movies where it's just a wasteland. I wish that wasn't the case, but if it doesn't get any better anytime soon, we cannot just stay gridlocked like this. We just can't. Immigration this and health care for illegals or not for illegals or what the hell ever. That's always been on the table, but it's never been this knockdown, drag out. And it's really just tearing us apart from the inside. And historically speaking, this is all writing that's been on the wall for years and years and years and years. So again, anyone who thinks that this ends in a good way, I'd be really curious to hear your theories or your predictions on how this ends, because I have my own, and not that I, am anyone to speak of these things or statistically or factually about these things, but I can tell you what I feel. I can tell you how my gut feels, and it's not good. And I don't want my kids or your kids or our grandkids or anybody to have to go through that, because it's just not going to end well. Now, I can keep saying that until I'm blue in the face. And again, I don't see any end in sight. Now, do things like Starbucks apparently shuttering, 900 locations or something along those lines. Does that bother me? No. If I'm being honest, I could give 10 shits about Starbucks. I just don't care. I don't drink Starbucks. I make fun of Starbucks. I don't care about that. But when any of these types of things, be it Starbucks or Dolly World, I just saw, apparently is shuttering down all the amusement rides. All of these things affect jobs, so that sucks. That's not okay. No one wants to see anyone lose their ability their ability to work or provide an income, either to support themselves or their family. So that bothers me. These giant corporations that are taking hits, that, yes, it could affect me if it was the right one. So again, nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see the unemployment rate skyrocket or people lose their ability to provide an income or to purchase their own health care. Weird. Speaking of health care, how about we continue to let these people have a job where health care isn't obscene, and then maybe we don't have to have a government shutdown over health care. But when it's 260, 280, 300 and something a paycheck for a family of 4, yet no one wants to budge on wages or any of these other things, and no one wants to put any caps in place on these things, then of course we're going to have healthcare issues. But the bigger problem, and it's been this way longer than I've been alive, I'm certain of it, but when the bigger problem on the table is either worrying about who is in the country doing what, honestly, I don't give a damn, but you have to look at it, and I realize that's going to get people screaming at the damn speaker for me saying that. However, in the context that I'm speaking of, you would also agree in the regard of who cares if they have papers as long as they are contributing members of society, they're paying taxes, they're paying their own health care, they're doing all the things they're supposed to do, then what does it matter? I'm sorry. I know that probably makes me a whack job, whatever, liberal. It doesn't, I assure you. What I'm saying is that if everyone is doing their part, then what does it matter? Now, I'm not talking about the gang-affiliated ones or, the ones committing all these bullshit-ass crimes, shootings and stabbings and riots and rapes and all that shit. Of course, that's just a bad person. That's a shitty human. I don't care where you're from, and neither does the statistics, or do the statistics. There are bad apples of every color, race. Come on, it's not rocket science. But the ones who are doing what they're supposed to do as a contributing member of society, who cares? But again, when you can't afford to, then what are people supposed to do? What options are people left with? And I kind of got off a little bit there. But again, when certain folks are so worried about fueling the military-industrial complex or making sure that, Zelensky, if I remember his name right, has a whole bunch of money and missiles to strike back or whatever, when that and all of those types of things are now center stage instead of the people in your home country, i.e. veterans, homeless, all of those things, then it's never going to work. As long as your concern is making sure that everyone else strokes your little political wiener instead of taking care of the things that you were supposed to be taking care of, then that's a problem. And it's going to lead us basically to where we are now. And it's not just this administration. It was the last one and the one before that and the one before that and the one before that and as many back as you can count on all your fingers and toes. And if you think I'm wrong, do some homework, because I guarantee most of you, at least the ones who actually pay attention, are agreeing. It has nothing to do with Trump. It has nothing to do with Biden. It has nothing to do. It's all of them. I've said it before. I'll say it again. They're all crooked shitheads, and they're all out for their own agendas. But it leaves us just wallowing around, hoping that maybe somebody will do something. And like I said, when we can no longer afford our daily lives, and I've talked about it before, the housing, the pharmaceuticals, all of it. When we can't afford to live, then what choice are we going to be left with? And how does this benefit anyone? So they've got to figure it out. The left, the right, the middle, the up, the down, I don't give a damn who it is. Figure it out. Stop worrying about shit that we shouldn't be worried about, sticking our nose in everybody else's damn business and worry about our shit first. Then if there's a little bit left over, then okay, cool. Yeah, now we can help these guys, or we can throw something towards those guys. But until we figure out our own stuff, we're going nowhere fast other than backwards. And I'm not even going to pretend to lie when certain people, I'll say it, Trump. I don't hate or like him any more than I do any of them. But and this is a big thing in the news currently, when you're more concerned about tweeting this or that, and I've had a problem with this since day one, since the first time he decided to step into this stage. When you decide to tweet this and whatever, Facebook that or whatever, I don't even care what platform, but when you're more concerned with talking shit and trying to be funny rather than solving problems, then you're not in the right position. When you can't take your job seriously, and I don't care who you are or what your job is, if you can't take your job seriously, then you don't need that job. You should not be in that position. And again, I don't give a damn who it is. It could be this one, the last one, the one before that, the one after it. You have a job to do. You do your job first and screw around second. And at the moment, that is not the case. That is not being done. Like I said, I'm not taking sides. I'm not saying anyone is better than the other, but job comes first. It's just like any of us. If we went to work and screwed off instead of doing our job, and then hurried right at the last minute to do a little bit of work that we were supposed to do in the course of our shift, then we're probably not long for that position, I would dare say. I'm all for screwing off at work. Once the work is done, you do your work, and then you screw off. And I don't see anything wrong with that. I don't give a shit if you want to tweet or Twitter from the shitter or whatever. I know I'm cussing a lot in this episode, guys, and I'm sorry, but I kind of feel like that's just all there is at this point. Again, work first, play second. That's what we're all expected to do. Why is no one else? Or why are they not being held to the same standard? I don't know, I guess. Love what I'm saying, hate what I'm saying. I hope you'll just be impartial with what I'm saying, kind of like the way I look at it. It is what it is, and it's not going to stop me one way or the other. I think everyone should be looking at it objectively, the same as I am. Because, again, when you look around and everything just seems to be crumbling, I don't know how you can't at least have some concern that we're not necessarily #winning across the board. Anyhow, take a quick break, and we'll see if I can find a joke or something to lighten this mood a little bit after this. Are you a business owner or marketing director for your company? Would you like to explore the potential benefits of advertising on the show? The Blowed Out podcast currently reaches listeners in over 104 cities spread across 13 countries worldwide. To explore advertising options, including budgeting and frequency, email us at blowedoutpodcast@gmail.com and be sure to include marketing in the subject line. All right, guys. I can tell you what I did last weekend that seemed to make everything a whole lot better in the world. I took a bunch of bikes and a bunch of firewood and a bunch of tasty beverages, and I went out in the desert, and I spent all weekend riding and laughing and sitting around the fire and looking at stars and having a good-ass time with some good-ass folks. And we had a blast out of the Knolls in Utah. And that is what everybody should be doing, because it makes everything better. No Facebook, no Twitter. No, I know I keep calling it Twitter. I don't even care. But none of that horse shit. I got up. I went out. I had a stretch. Had a little breakfast. Went for a ride. Sat in a lawn chair. Cracked a tasty beverage. And just enjoyed life. No bullshit. No phones. No internet. Granted, yeah, I found a little spot of service here and there. I may have made a TikTok or two, but it wasn't serious stuff. It was just having a good-ass time. And I implore all of you guys to do the same as possible. I screwed that up. As often as possible. And especially with the cooler temps coming, now is the perfect time. Perfect. Just get out and love life, guys. Please, take your kids, take everybody. Sit in a lawn chair. Do nothing but look at the stars and just enjoy life. Is all the shit there when you get back? Yeah. But at least you had them couple days where you didn't have to worry about it. You didn't think about it. You didn't even care. It's so worth it. Absolutely worth it. I did spend a couple of days remembering that I am not a young man anymore. And I also spent a little bit of time remembering why you should not jump a 40-year-old three-wheeler just because it's cool. It was cool, and it's the most air that poor old thing's seen in a hot minute, and it's still a blast. But man, it'll sure remind you that you're 49 years old. I can guarantee you that. I didn't even know I had a third kidney to poop out. It just happened. I knew something hurt when I landed, but boo, that thing shot right out. In other news, if you're looking for a way to help your portfolio out, I did notice nobody can afford Tesla now, but man, if you had some, you're a happy fella right now, or lady. But if you can get in on Intel right now, that's probably not a bad idea at all. And if you have Citibank, you're going to want to get out just as fast as possible. So, Intel and silver and gold, bueno. Citibank, not so bueno. Not that I'm a one to take advice from, but I know basic math, and I can tell you that according to my education, those are the ones to watch right at the moment. Because 7.5% today, don't lie. That's a good ass thing. So you jump on that. And silver, man, they're like $30 today or something. I remember when it was worth nothing, $4 or $5 an ounce. If you can afford to sit on that for a minute, you'll be doing just fine. And some sad news: Jane Goodall passed away today at 91 of natural causes. And I was thinking, she had a hell of a run, 91. Also, very cool. I'm sure most of you know who she is. A philanthropist, a zoologist, fascinating stuff. Also, the person who Gorillas in the Mist was based upon. For making it to 91, being in some of the places and situations that she has seen and been in, that's pretty damn good. She could have been the mist that the gorillas were in, if they would have wanted that, or she could have, but, just been torn in half by a chimp. I mean, like I said, I'm fascinated with her work. I'm fascinated with primates and zoology in general, but man, to make it to 91 and die of old age, I mean, R.I.P., ma'am. But like I said, in some of the places she's been and poachers and some crazy stuff, man, who'd have ever thought she'd have made it to 91? Anyhow, again, sad day. Godspeed, ma'am. Interestingly enough, a couple of years ago, she had some interesting things to say about our current administration, and likened his behavior to the same sort of a behavior as a male chimpanzee when he's competing for dominance with another. It's kind of hard to disagree with that, guys. And again, I'm not taking sides. I'm not saying that everything is hopeless by any means. I hope this all pans out well for all of us. Also, I'm not naysaying, and I typically try and be an optimist rather than a pessimist, but above all else, a realist. So I definitely don't think that we are in a place that we cannot recover from by any means. But some things have definitely got to take place, and some things have definitely got to change, or we could end up in a place that we are not able to recover from. So I'm hoping that things start to gravitate that way sooner than later. And you guys know, I've said it a million times before, I hate being doomy and gloomy. I hate it. I would rather laugh than cry. I would rather joke than be serious. So I definitely hope that we can start heading that direction. But it's going to take some work, and it's going to take a lot of things. I've also said before that I don't think that these protests are the way to go. If you want to protest, please do. Please feel free. I've also said that I will absolutely fight for your right to do so, as long as you don't hinder my ability to continue on with my life. But I do feel like they're probably just falling on deaf ears. I know that's an unpopular opinion. I know that in the past they have been at least semi-successful in swaying things, but it's going to take more than 150 people here and there in small town USA, and unfortunately all they do in the current climate is lead to violence and just fighting, and it's not worth it. And sadly, it's gotten to the point where, just having your flag out, Old Glory on your porch, could get your house spray painted or stuff thrown at it, or God forbid worse. So that's a problem when we have reached this point where apparently, words or opinions are no longer valued by everyone for everyone, as evidenced over the last several weeks. Especially, not just, but also. So, for me, the protests seem like a no-go. We need big voices. We need big voices to address big problems. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. And I implore these big voices, not that they're listening to me, but all of these big voice platforms and folks that have a lot more sway than I do need to start using that rather than just sitting back and using it for clicks or topics. And I'll leave that for you guys to decide who all I may be speaking of. It's not very hard to figure out, but again, yes, it makes for great material for your platform, but it's not helping in the grand scheme of things. So maybe consider that. But who knows? Maybe with your guys' help, we can grow this platform to have a little bit better voice. I would certainly appreciate all your help. I'm down to say the things that need to be said. Like I said, I definitely think there's still hope. We just got to get it figured out. And it's going to take all of us. Ugh, I hate that saying. It takes a village, but man, in this case, it really does. It really does. We're gonna need all the villagers on this one. But like I said, I'm down to say the hard things. If you guys want to just, let me know what you'd like to hear. Let me know what you think. And then tell a friend, tell everyone, have a listen. 118 cities and 14 countries. I hope everyone across the globe that happens to be a fan of the show is doing well. Let's get it out there. If nobody else is going to do it, all right, let's do it. We can do that. So if you have thoughts or questions, you guys know the drill. Hit us up at blowedoutpodcast@gmail.com or on the social medias. Fire away. Let's do it. I'm not scared. I'll talk shit with the best of them. You guys know that. In the meantime, we'll keep it short and sweet. Like I said, hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody is able to stay hopeful, like I'm desperately trying to. I say, get out, look at some stars, get out the telescope, have a beverage and a lawn chair, just enjoy things while we can. Try and be good to one another. And we'll talk to you guys real soon with some silliness and some co-hosts. We'll get another one in the can here real soon and try and have some fun. Okay? In the meantime, love you guys. Cheers.